who's very interested in donating land to us. This would be a huge step. We could say, okay, we've got the land developers, come on in, let's see where we can get started. Also, we're working with the hospital. They've had a senior living continuum of care plan on their priority list for several years, but it's never made it to the top. Well, frankly, because we're raising a little bit of interest and dust, they have moved their priorities up and are looking at helping out, either having something built right there at the hospital land or supporting this private land place that we have in mind. There's also skilled nursing facilities. We all know we've got Columbine, but it's about half empty, half full. They hold 109 licenses for skilled nursing in our county. We can't apply. No one can apply for other licenses until those are used. So that's an issue we want to deal with. And Life Care, a for-profit concern, owns the Columbine. And frankly, it's a loss leader for them because they lose money at it. They only have around 41 beds, if that many, occupied now out of the 109. We're also working with the Chaffee Housing Trust, and this is a great group that would be able to take property because of our 5,400 people already over 65. They own about 3,600 homes, and over 300 are rental. Finding my numbers here, Lynn. 2,600 homes and 360 rental units. Well, if those people move into another facility, we can put that inventory into our housing inventory, and with the housing trust, we can make them affordable living. And there's a formula that the individual gets full market rate for their sale. They can use that money to pay their rent in the assisted living place, but the housing trust would put that land into the affordable living basket. So that's a great one. The Chaffee Housing Authority is wonderful. They are looking at how we can bring more affordable housing to the community, and they're very, very supportive of our efforts. And then the Council of Governments also very involved in how can we help seniors. So there are 2 pieces of property. A lot of people on our board include Andrea Bruno, who's been here about 5 years and has an excellent background in running large, high-tech organizations as well as a yoga studio. She's very committed to helping us. Cheryl Brown-Kavosek is also on our group, and what a resource that lady is with her background in government positions, boards, etc. Marilyn Bolden, I think you probably all know of, is an excellent promoter of aging services here in our county. Lydia Siegel is a retired doctor. She's very helpful. She also sits on the hospital board, so this gives us a nice connection there. Judy Hogue, who happens to be a good friend of the person donating land, has been a wonderful conduit, and her mother has been up at a Good Samaritan home in Loveland, unfortunately passed away last week at 106. And Judy would have much preferred to have her mother live here in Chaffee County, but nothing was available for what she needed. Wendell Pryor, the former director of our Economic Development Corporation, a wealth of knowledge on those state government funding programs and how this whole county works. And then Jeff Eaton from BV, who's somewhat of a new resident, but great background on housing development, specifically for seniors from the East. So it's a well-rounded group, and we're looking forward to keeping you all informed and hearing from you. What do you want? What are you looking for? Is it in 5 years? Is it 10 years? Or right now, do you have a parent or someone you know that would need these facilities? So please sign up on our email list over here. We'll keep in touch with you maybe once a month. We'll send out a newsletter giving you updates. And we're hoping within a month or two, we'll really have a decision on where this facility will be, and we'll be promoting that. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a question, Dee. I had heard about this land swap a while back when I went to Tom's presentation, and I do recommend that green book. Even if you can't use it, I gave it to somebody else who could use those services. But I had heard there was an issue about infrastructure, no infrastructure being available to the land that was offered.
Well, it is currently county unincorporated land. So we're looking at annexing that land, and not just the 10 acres that this individual wants to donate to Places to Age, the whole 42 acres. If we do it all at once, then we can show where the connections would be for infrastructure, the traffic patterns, the designated parklands. All of this is very important for the city to accept this parcel into their jurisdiction. So we're working on that. There are ways to connect, but if we just try to just our 10 acres within this whole 42, it gets more complicated and we don't have the best use of the land. So we are trying to do them all at once.
Hi everyone, I'm Aubrey Tamietti. I'm the Arc Valley Helping Hands Coordinator for Chaffee County Public Health. So this used to be a nonprofit, and about a year ago we transitioned under public health, which has been really amazing. It helps with funding and keeping us going long term, and it just made sense. Molly Bishop, who's not here, but she does the Aging Well programming, she's under public health, and then the home share program also moved under public health. So when the last executive director left, they decided just pull the plug and move it under public health, which has been great. So what we do is I coordinate a lot of volunteers. We've got about 160 volunteers in the system. I'd say about 30 of those are really active, and people have different things that they really love to do. So yeah, you get people who really love friendly visits, people who love yard work, and everything in between. And then we've got about 175 older adults, so that's 50 and older, that are in our system. I onboard a new 2 or 3 people a month, and a lot of inquiry calls, particularly when there's a lot of weeding that needs to be done, snow removal. That's when I see a lot of increase in memberships. It is free to be a member, so really all they have to do is sign a waiver, and they do a visit with me. I go see their home, talk with them, chat with them about their needs, and how our volunteers can help them. I really value meeting people where they're at, and so, you know, like, people feel really uncomfortable asking for help sometimes, but it is like a give and take, you know, like, I encourage them that, like, maybe you can't do your yard work, but you can, you know, do care calls, and it helps them feel like they can give back to the organization as well. So we provide a variety of services, really all of the things. The biggest one this last summer, yard work, lots of yard work requests. I think, how many hours? I just, over 100 hours maybe of yard work this summer, close to that. And then, we do snow removal, so that's when you're partnered up with someone who hopefully lives fairly close to you, and do snow removal for folks so they can safely get around in the winter. And we do friendly visits. That's a really popular one. So that's when folks go and visit like once a week, and do, we have fun things that they do. This one woman, she's been going and doing puzzles with this gentleman who has Alzheimer's, and another woman who goes and like paints this woman's nails. I mean, it's really flexible. You can do whatever you want during that time. But it's really, really special because a lot of these folks, they don't get to leave their homes. They're kind of trapped and socially isolated. And so having this connection with somebody else, it's like building friendships. And a lot of times, like, these do become really important friendships for people and part of that support system. And I think that's the beauty of Arc Valley Helping Hands, is like we're a piece of that support network for these folks. What else do we do? Care calls, so people are just checking in. We've actually got a member that calls another member every day, just like a 10-minute call. to make sure that they're okay. Sometimes the conversation lasts longer, but it's really just because they're both single females living alone. So just an opportunity to make sure they're okay. We also do like birthday calls, which has been really, I just got a voicemail from someone who was so thankful that somebody remembered her birthday. She doesn't have any family, and so to receive that birthday call and a birthday card was really, really meaningful. I've been helping folks fill out hearing aid applications for a grant so they can get that, so that's been really great. And yeah, we do, let's see, Trishaw rides, yes. So this is our new program, which is really exciting. Who's seen the Trishaw bike? Do you know what I'm talking about? So yeah, it's pretty obvious. You'll know when you see it. It's a pedicab that's electric, and it's got a 2-passenger seat in the front with a removable base. So folks who have like a walker can back into it and sit. So it's really designed for older adults. And we've been taking them around town. It's just Salida right now. We're working on a second bike for BV. But it's been really, really amazing. I think the people I've given rides to, it's so impactful. Like they get to get outside, and I think maybe there's this feeling of guilt that someone's pedaling them around, but it's an electric bike, so it's not that hard. It's very enjoyable actually for everybody, unless it's really windy. Slide up. But yeah, so it's an electric bike. We take people out. We have partnerships with both ice cream shops, so Salida Pharmacy and Fountain, and Chill, so you get free ice cream when you go for a ride. Make new friends. We've got partnerships with Mount Chavano, so Molly's there every week. I'd say it's probably the same 3 people that get rides every week, but they love it, which is really cool. And we also have been in with Columbine, so at least once a month we're on their activities list, and we have a volunteer that's worked really hard to get that up and running, which is awesome. And then we're also with Valley to Valley. We were doing that once a week, going over there and giving rides. And yeah, we're wrapping up for the season, but I think we've given about 30 rides a month since June. So it's been really, it's been highly accepted in the community. It's been really fun. I think when we first started, there was some skepticism of whether we would be able to pick people up from their homes, but it's been very doable here. And because it's such a big, exciting bike, people definitely know that you're coming. So yeah, we train all our pilots, and so they go through, they have to get checked off. So it's not just anybody that gets to do that, but it's really, really fun. And then another exciting new program is I've been developing some relationships with the schools for some intergenerational programming. So the Link School in BV is now doing weekly service in BV, so mostly yard work through the winter, and that's counted for school credit. And then tomorrow I'm meeting with Salida schools, and hopefully we can get something similar going here. So that's been really neat. I think what I've seen is we've had some youth groups that have been involved, and it's really impactful for everybody. The stories that the youth hear, and then just having younger people helping out has been really, really fun to see. I'm glad to be a part of all that. We have a seasonal service day coming up. So we have one in October, one in around April, and then sometime in the summer. So our last one was in July. So if all this sounds really fun or exciting and you want to get involved, the service days are a really good opportunity to try out volunteering with us without going through the background check and interview and all of that. So our next service day is Friday, October 27th. A lot of leaf raking. It's from 10 to 1, and then we're going to have an after party at the arcade with pizza, so just to entice you to come. It's really good. I'll say that the volunteers with Ark Valley Helping Hands, it's a wide variety of ages, and people really care. I think that's been the biggest feedback is our members love the volunteers and the impact that they're having. So if you like chatting with people, or you just like want to work outside, that works too. We have a variety of opportunities for you. And yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say. Questions?
Do you follow up with the people after you've had, the people that you're servicing? Do you follow up and do a report that they did everything correctly? I mean, your volunteers, and accountability, I guess.
Great question. Yeah, so the volunteers fill out a survey when they finish reporting their hours and kind of like what they did. And yeah, if there were any issues, that kind of thing. So I'm getting those reports. And then usually I'll get calls from members if they're like, oh, this volunteer didn't do this, they didn't show up, that kind of thing. And then I put out like a yearly survey for members to see if everything's going okay. But mostly they're just happy with whoever shows up, and if they are there to help them out, it's better than nothing.
I can't remember which group it is. I think it's the Central Colorado Conservancy that has the Hands for Lands group that helps farmers and ranchers clean their ditches and stuff like that. Have you looked into collaborating with them, since those people like to go out and do craft work and all that?
No, but I love that. Thank you. I'm looking for a variety of opportunities. I think this summer we found that I didn't have enough volunteers to do all the yard work. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Other questions?
There's no means testing. This is anybody in the community that needs help.
Yes, yeah. So really, again, it's free. They just have to do an interview with me, and yeah, I think because it's volunteer based, I do warn them, like, the timeliness of it may take a little bit. Like, you never know when a volunteer is going to be available. So with the yard work, I would tell them if after 2 weeks no one's come, then I will come and do it for you. And then with like friendly visits, sometimes it just takes a few tries to get the right person. So we're just adaptable, and I just let them know up front what that's going to be like.
I know there's a company, some entrepreneurs doing tri-bikes in Buena Vista, maybe for profit. I talked to them about your organization, but are you in touch with those people up there?
We are not right now, but we will be once we get another bike, I'm sure. And Molly's talked with them.
Some bikes,
yeah.
but I don't know that they're electrified.
Yeah, and our bike is very specific, so we're kind of locked into this model of bike, and we're working on funding for that bike in the northern end of the county, storage and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Tom McConaughey, and I am the director of the this is a mouthful, the Upper Arkansas Area Agency on Aging. We want to find a new name, but we watched another area agency on aging change their name to Vintage, and nobody knows what they do.
Yeah.
And so they've kind of slipped off into oblivion over their name, and so we're trying to be very careful. We are a program under the Upper Arkansas Area Council of Governments. And I see a lot of heads nodding, which is great that you know what that is. Most people don't. For those of you who might not know what it is, Council of Governments is formed. There's several of them in Colorado, but they are formed usually in rural areas, although there's Denver Regional Council of Governments, so they can be in metropolitan areas. And they're formed so that multiple counties can get together and provide services that standing alone they just couldn't do. And as a good example, Chaffee County would not be able to support an area agency on aging by itself. But when paired with Lake County, Chaffee County, Custer County, and Fremont County, we were able to get enough funding from the state and from the federal government to operate in this area. So that's why we're under a Council of Governments, because we wouldn't be able to do it as a standalone. I'm just going to say the Area Agency on Aging. We usually leave the Upper Arkansas part off. Plus, it really confuses people. They think we're in the state of Arkansas sometimes. But the only requirement for our programs is that you are 60 or older, and that has a period after it. We don't have means testing for any of our programs. The only caveat to that is that looking forward, our funding, unfortunately, is going to decrease by about 50% over the next year. We have been really blessed with a lot of ARPA funds, CARES Act money, consolidated food money that was coming from the state, homestead funding. All of that is going to disappear in the next 12 months. And we're going to be back to our 2019 funding levels, which is really tragic because, as you all know, the cost of doing business has skyrocketed. Food has skyrocketed. Paper goods and plastic goods to package food for our home delivered meals has skyrocketed. That one's the worst, about 135%. And our workforce is just more expensive to keep them employed these days for them to be able to live and work in Chaffee County. We do have one employee who's in Fremont County that's at the UACOG headquarters in Fremont County, but everybody else is here in Salida. So we feel very grounded here in Chaffee County. When we do run short on funds and we have a wait list, that's the only time we have a means test. And that's just to determine who we provide services to first. If you're on the wait list, you will get services eventually. It's just we have to put it in a certain order with a means test when we're on a wait list. So that's the only time that comes into account. Some of the programs we have, I'll start with Matthew Gower's programs. Matthew Gower is our Senior Services Coordinator. He runs an in-home respite program, so if you are a caretaker for somebody who requires 24/7 care and you need a break, we can provide somebody, you can choose them that would come into the home, and we would pay them up to, I think it's 20 hours a month, $400 a month worth of in-home respite, so that you can make that trip to the Front Range or go shopping or just take a break. Caregiving is, if any of you are involved in it, you already know this, caregiving is incredibly taxing on everybody involved. And so that's one of our most important programs. That one is well funded. Maybe the word well isn't right. It's funded through the federal government and through the state of Colorado at a level higher than most programs. I'll just put it that way. Matthew also does in-home services. So that's homemaker and personal care services. So these are designed, so if you have to go into, say, the hospital to have a knee replaced or a hip replaced, and you come out and you just need some extra help around the house for a short period of time, it's $960 worth of benefit that we can give you. That's 48 hours of in-home help. And the homemaker side is things kind of like what it sounds like. They'll come in and they'll help with cooking and cleaning and maybe going and getting you groceries, just doing things that maybe you can't do during that short period of time. The benefit of this is it keeps you out of a rehabilitative nursing home setting. So it can be really, really beneficial. The other one is personal care. And just like the name sounds, it's more personal. It's dressing, toileting, wound care, that kind of stuff that we can do. We can help you find somebody to come into the home to do that stuff. And again, that is also 48 hours. Homemaker and personal care can be used at the same time. So you can get both of them coming into the home to help you, which is really great. So those things Matthew does. Leslie Benching, who's down in the Canyon City office, she does our chore program, and this is a lot like the Helping Hands, although we pay people to do it, and it's got a fairly low dollar amount that we can do, and we actually have to get a waiver to get it raised. The Older Americans Act hasn't been updated since 1985. It is currently going through the process of being updated this year. And so all these amounts hopefully will go up. Right now it's at $75 a year.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty low. And I don't really think it's been changed since 1965 when Older Americans Act passed. But we get a waiver and we can get up to $300 a year. So if you need a ramp built or you need windows cleaned, it can go for snow removal, it can be used for yard care. Anything that we can articulate is a safety issue, we can spend chore money on. And then she also does vision and dental programs. So the vision and dental is also $300 per year. You can do one or the other. So you choose, okay, I need the vision help this year, I'm going to save my dental for next year. You can come ask us for a $300 voucher. Once you have that voucher, you make your appointment, you go to the doctor. All the doctors and eye doctors and dentists in this area know us. They know how to handle the voucher. They just deduct that amount from your bill and they bill us, and then we pay them. So it's a nice little benefit. It can cover the cost of a pair of glasses. It'll cover some very basic dental help, but it can take the bite out of big dental problems as well. In addition to these, this is not a UACOG, or it's not a AAA, an Area Agency on Aging program, but we do have what's called a Community Service Block Grant. And if you meet the means test, you can get a grant through UACOG down in Canyon City. It's administered by a woman named Samantha Hughes. And that is something you can access once every 5 years, and the amount you get kind of is dependent on how big your need is. It can be $1,000, it can be $1,500, it can be $2,000. So if you have, I broke a tooth last night. I haven't been to the dentist yet, but I'm just waiting for my wallet to shrink a little bit. It hurts like the dickens. You ever bite into something, you think it's soft, and it ain't. I bit into a Snickers bar, and I think it had a rock in it, because it went crack, like my whole head went crack. Anyway, but the community service block grant is another opportunity to get help with dental or more expensive vision help. It can also help with things like if you're behind on your rent, if you need a new air conditioner, if you need a new heater, all these big expense sort of things the community service block grant can help with. So that's the stuff Leslie does. Elisa Pappenfort, she does our durable medical and transportation. Transportation is up to $200 a year that we can help you with paying for somebody to drive you somewhere, whether it's through Chaffee Shuttle or any other third-party transportation program that you can find. We try to work with MedRide a lot. They can be tough to get things organized, but sometimes that works. I saw another transportation company, and your husband might know about it.
Aspen?
No, it was, I wish I'd written it down. It was an orange car, and I'd never seen it before. It was rolling through Poncha Springs 2 days ago.
Trying one out in front of it.
The chauffeur service in Buena Vista.
I'm sorry?
It's a chauffeur service advertised in Buena Vista.
Yeah. This one is a Colorado-wide company. I looked it up immediately, but I didn't write it down. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, Elisa does the transportation and also durable medical. So durable medical are things like grab bars that you need to install for your shower. Going back to the handicap accessible ramps, you can pair Chore with durable medical. So you can get $200 worth of supplies purchased through durable medical, and then Chore can help pay for the labor to install it. So you can kind of pair them together, you get $500 that way. And those are the programs she does. Christy Carruthers, she runs our nutrition program. This is the biggest part of our agency. We do home delivered meals and congregate meals at 5 different sites: Lake County, Chaffee County, Custer County, and then Fremont County has 2 sites, one in Florence and one in Canyon City. The Chaffee County site that's in Salida, we do not do congregate meals at the moment, but we're sitting on a little over $3 million to build a new office building that will have a congregate meal area and a commercial kitchen. And so when that finally gets built, hopefully the RFP is going to go out this week.
Yeah.
We were working on it this morning. We've got a bunch of people, including myself, that have never done a request for proposals for a major commercial construction project. And it's more complicated than I ever thought it would be. So we've been working really hard to get that together. We've gotten some great help from some local people, and we've got it kind of nailed down now, I think. So that's going to be going in over in Confluence Park on Cleora Road, right across from the big apartments that are next to the National Forest Service building. So we'll be right across the street from those apartments, between Cleora Road and Highway 50 when we get it built. So we're hoping we'll be in there by March of 25, optimistically by the fall of 24. So hopefully we get that done. But the Meals on Wheels, we serve about 45,000 meals a year through that program. So it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of people, it's a lot of volunteers. We are all, here's my pitch, we're always looking for volunteer drivers. We do pay mileage, so we'll reimburse it at 65.5 cents a mile for mileage. We are in desperate need up in Buena Vista right now. I think we have 1 left in Buena Vista. And every winter we tend to lose some that go south for the winter, and then we have to find people who are willing to brave the winter roads and stay here all year. But the meals for Buena Vista are cooked in Salida and then delivered up to Buena Vista. So it is a little bit of driving. But if any of you are interested, let me know after this meeting, and I'd be happy to give you more information. I noticed Molly had some information on the Alzheimer's Association and caregiver support groups. I'm going to let you talk
Okay.
about that. I just want to say that Matthew Gower, he helps facilitate those at times, if not all the time now.
He does it once a month and I do it once a month.
Okay, yeah, they split it now. I can't remember the gentleman's name that used to do that. Ralph. And Ralph's not with us anymore. Well, no, I shouldn't say it like that. Ralph is doing other things now. So that's our programs. We are advocates for everything aging. We may not be able to solve your problem, but we can probably get you pointed in the right direction. As you can imagine, with the dramatic loss in funding, we are really pushing the state of Colorado to increase our funding next year. This is going to be a political movement. We have got to get some letter writing done. We've got to get some muscle behind it. We've got to get seniors interested in advocating for themselves. A lot of older adults do advocacy work, but we've got to get a lot more. I have heard personally from a staffer from a U.S. representative that they are not concerned with their older adult constituents because they know how they're going to vote. It's a given. They know. They already have the numbers and they don't move much. So they spend all their time pandering to the youngest voters under 30 because they're the ones that they want to convince to get locked into a political party, into a way of voting, so they'll vote that way the rest of their lives. That's where they put their energy, and it's really obvious that that's what they're doing. They told me, they said, our older Americans do not have the political power they had in the 80s. And I looked at him and I went, I'm going to tell everybody that. Because I think he'd beg to differ. So, as we're putting together a plan right now with the Colorado Association of Area Agencies on Aging, which is also called C4A. We have a meeting in Steamboat next week, and we're putting together a battle plan. We do not have the support of CDHS. Nope. They told us they will not support us getting more funding. Our own state unit on aging told us they are not allowed to advocate for us. So we're going to fall back on the Older Americans Act, which says that we will advocate. So that's what we're going to do. So that's what we got ahead of us. Anybody have any questions for me?
Yeah. Are you specifically saying that Brittany Pedersen, our representative, has told you that they're not interested in helping?
She has not. One of her staffers let the cat out of the bag. Yeah. That did not, I want to make it clear, that did not come from Brittany. And I have a meeting set up with her, and I think she has been her personally, has been very honest that she doesn't know much about older adult issues, and she wants to learn more. So we're going to be meeting with her. Her staffer was just telling us the political reality. It wasn't that they don't care. That's not the point. The point is that when they spend their political energies, they're going to spend them where they think they can make the biggest influence, the biggest impact. And I think they're wrong. I think there's still impact to be had everywhere. And they need to be paying attention to what we need. But yeah, it wasn't her directly, it was one of her staffers. We learned through a policy meeting we went to in DC that our representatives and senators, they vote the way their staffers tell them to vote. Because their staffers are the ones who do the legwork. And so when it's time for a vote, they turn to the staffer that specializes in older American issues, and they say, how am I voting on this today? And they say, well, our research says this, and then they vote that way. Walking around the U.S. Capitol, I was amazed at how many of our senators, I walked behind one senator in particular, and he was being told exactly what to say and think and vote on his way to the Senate chambers by his staffer. I witnessed it. So I know that they're being honest with us. We had a great meeting with a bunch of staffers, and they said, we're the ones you want to talk to because we're the ones that influence. And they're right. They really are. Yes?
This is really disturbing that you're losing all this funding because I keep reading things about, how our population is really an aging population, how in a few years we're going to have more people over 65 than we have school, that are school age.
Yes.
And that we're, as a country, just ill-prepared for dealing with this situation. And I know other countries, I think specifically Japan, has been facing this, and now we are too. And that our Congress really needs to be on the ball in how they're going to handle this aging population.
Yeah, and I agree, and we're also experiencing the unwinding of Medicaid right now too, because there was expanded Medicaid eligibility, and now they're unwinding that, and so a lot of people are losing their Medicaid eligibility at a time when they need to be keeping it, especially those who are, and I'll back it all the way down to 55 and older, need to be holding on to that. But we look at ourselves, Matt will tell you this if you ever get a chance to talk to Matt, we are the last line of defense for a lot of people. They come to us and they have no other options. They can't get, I mean, how many of you have tried to call Medicaid or Medicare and have a conversation with them? Yeah, you're not going to have a conversation with them if you even get to talk to them. We don't have any Medicaid contractors. If you're a Medicaid eligible, we can get you fantastic benefits in this area, but we have no contractors to do the work. We don't have any home health care agencies in this area. Lake County or Custer County. We have a few down in Fremont County. They're all maxed out. They will not take any more clients. And so when they come to us and they need that in-home personal care or respite stuff, we're it. And we can't give a lot, but we can help a little bit. And we get stories all the time. I mean, I'm really proud of the fact that we have kept a lot of people out of institutions. We've kept a lot of people at home. Because there's some really startling statistics. If you go into a facility, the chances that you don't ever come out of that facility are pretty high. So we try to keep people at home. That's our goal, is keep people at home.
So Tom, a long time ago, when I worked at the Department of Health in New Mexico, we had the frail elderly waiver. Has that gone away?
I've never even heard of it, so I would say yes.
It was a federally and state-funded waiver to keep elderly people in place, to let them age in place. And there were a lot of services that were available. So Colorado may not have invested in that format.
Yeah, and I know that there's not, that safety net, it doesn't exist in Colorado right now.
Okay. The other question is, when you have people who want to get these services, how do you staff them? Do you have members in Chaffee County that will do the respite, or do they have family that can come in and be paid? How's the staffing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's two different models we can use. Either we can hire them and then assign them to you, or you can hire them yourself. If we hire them, they become employees, legally speaking. And this changed a few years ago. So they all of a sudden become employees of ours, which becomes really difficult because you start to incur a lot more overhead. So the model we use is what we call consumer directed. And that means that the consumer directs their own care. So we do have lists. So if you need respite help, we can give you a list of people in the county that will provide respite services or in-home or personal care. Same with chore, we've got a list of providers that will come out and do the work. But technically you are hiring them. They're your employee. We pay them on your behalf.
So they haven't been vetted?
No, it's the client's responsibility to vet them if they wish. Yeah, that's the other big expense. So every time we were doing it before the other way, every time we had a new one, we had the expense on top of everything else of having to do background checks, which can be pretty high, pretty quick. So yeah.
Do you do any work? I have two questions. Do you do any work with people on the VA? You have VA services, and then the second question: is there a shortage of people to provide all these services, or all these upcoming? And what is that? If there is a shortage, what is it?
So we don't work with the VA. We just work with the VA, if that makes any sense. So they don't. We don't funnel any of their services through our organization. We have a lot of clients that have VA benefits, and we help coordinate them. So we'll make those calls to the VA and help them get connected with the right person to get the benefits they need through the VA if they're not already getting them. And a lot of times people come to us, they simply don't know what benefits they qualify for. And so we do a lot of work, especially Matt. I can't say enough about Matt. He really knows what's available out there, and he's really good at getting people lined up. And then the question about workforce, we have the same workforce struggle as everybody else does. We have a shortage of CNAs. That is slowly getting better, very, very slowly. The state has a program right now where they'll pay for anybody to go to school to become a CNA. We were actually going to use some of our ARPA public health funds for that. And we were going to give full scholarships to anybody willing to become a CNA as long as they agreed to stay in the aging industry for 3 years after they got it. It turned out that was unneeded because the state's already doing it. They started doing that last year. So we're working on it. We do a lot of behind the scenes work trying to cultivate people who will be providers, especially in these rural areas. It's really hard to get somebody to go to what is the name of that road? Badger Creek or something like that over in Custer County. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Or to get them to go to Coaldale or Texas Creek. Or even in this county, getting them to go to Mesa Antero or Maysville, or getting them to go to Twin Lakes. So we're always looking for people who are willing to do that kind of work. We have some younger people who are just now getting into the industry, and then we have some retired nurses. We have some folks that have taken care of their own parents, and their parents are gone now, and so they want to continue doing that caretaking for other people. And so we've got a real wide variety of them, but we could always use more. We're always struggling to find them. Right now, we've got 100% of our clients covered, but that can change. So we're always concerned about it. Yes, ma'am.
So I think, Molly, we
Yeah.
need to hear from you. We've got 10, 15 minutes more.
Sorry.
Are there any other questions that you have for Tom?
And you can catch me afterwards, too.
Hi, I'm Molly Bischoff. I'm the Aging Well Coordinator and Health Navigator for Chaffee County Public Health. I've been in this position for about 2.5 years now. I first started off under SAGE, which was a nonprofit, and then became under public health kind of after COVID. Things with COVID got a little bit better. So what does that mean? What do I do? It's hard to put it all down on paper, and then I start to, I'm like, wow, there's a lot going on. One of the things I do is educational outreach. So how many people went to the Embracing Aging Expo? So that was something that we helped facilitate, put on with some amazing volunteers, all of them here. So that, we did the adventures and learning at CMC. Thankfully, I'm really good at spending Tom's money. So, I'm really sad that there's going to be less of it. I'm going to have to talk.
Yeah.
So he's super supportive with the ideas that I come up with and manages to find dollars for them. One of the things that we did a few weeks ago was a book discussion on breaking the age code. I have a little flyer here, and we have some books available. We'll be doing that up in Buena Vista on November 8th. Also, talking about monthly educations, I try and do something every month, whether it's on Alzheimer's disease or healthy baking. Savannah from the hospital has come and done a couple of things for us over at a church. So a lot of education. We did something with the hoarding disorder at the steam plant, and that went pretty well. What else? Community engagement. I do a lot with community engagement, trying to help people connect. Isolation and loneliness is more detrimental than smoking 13 cigarettes a day. So I try and really bring people together. I worked with Marilyn Bolden, and we started Chaffee Walks. Has anyone been on a Chaffee Walk with the Chaffee Walk group? Which is a great way to meet new people, and get outside and get your body moving. Really help people facilitate realizing that they can volunteer, and there's a lot that they can give back to our community. Age Strong in the afternoon, which goes on in Salida at a church from 1 to 4 every Thursday. So we have all kinds of games, and we had belly dancing last week, and the volunteer is going to keep that up for us at 2 o'clock on Thursdays, and it was really fun. Age Strong, our Age Strong Coalition, which Dee is a part of, and you know, the Places to Age kind of took off from that group, and so actually all of us are in that group, so it's community members and stakeholders, people that want to age here in Chaffee County until they choose that they don't want to, that we really want to help people thrive in place, and so identifying where those gaps are for that to happen, and then what can we do as a group to make those things happen. And so I've tried to do some of the things that are a little smaller on the ladder of difficulty because building assisted living and memory care is not going to be a small feat. So it's kind of fun for me. I get a lot of little wins every day. Today I was really excited, speaking of the e-bike. BB e-bikes was very gracious. They let me know about a gentleman who had his electric bike stolen, and it was his way of really getting around and helping with his mental health. He is an amputee above the knee, and so worked with Chaffee Cares and Public Health, and we delivered an electric bike to him today here in Poncha Springs, and it was just magical. And so between being able to do that and give rides on the trike, I've decided that bicycles are going to save the world. It's really an awesome experience getting to do some of this work and meeting so many older adults and helping them realize that they can thrive at this point in their lives. I wrote a grant with the National Council on Aging so that we have the Adult Mastery Program. Has anyone heard of the Adult Mastery Program? Dee attended the Adult Mastery Program. Carol, did you do it?
Yep.
No. But it is a wonderful program. Emily Marquis, we contract with her to do the education. It's 10 weeks long. And basically, you know, it kind of helps us realize what's possible after retirement, or maybe after something significant happens, like losing your spouse or getting divorced. And physical fitness, financial fitness, volunteering, community outreach, it just is a great way to hit home some of the things that are within our wheelhouse to actually make a change on in our lives. And so if you haven't heard of it, I would definitely take a look at it. We offer it every spring and every fall. So we have one going on right now. What else do I do? So I'm an Alzheimer's Association educator as well as a caregiver support person. So we offer Alzheimer's caregiver support groups at a church. It is the third Thursday at 2 o'clock, and then Matthew, he offers them the first Thursday of the month at the First Presbyterian Church. So his is in the morning at 10:45, and mine's in the afternoon. So it's kind of nice being able to offer it in the morning and in the afternoon. So also doing a lot of community outreach with the Alzheimer's Association. Some of you may know who Ann Carter was. She did a lot of work here in our county. We don't have someone that works for the association here in our county, so I try and do a lot of the outreach that they might do. We did the longest day, did fundraising. They actually came to the Embracing Aging Expo, which was wonderful. What else? Home share. So I have been the person that, for the most part, has been doing our home share program. Has anyone heard of the home share program? Yeah, so it's really a great opportunity for an older adult that maybe needs a little bit of help in their home, changing light bulbs or shoveling snow, kind of the things that Aubrey and Tom were talking about, but enables people to stay in their home, hopefully without getting hurt, and they can remain there for a long time. And so we have one match that's been going on since July. I have a trial match that's going on right now, so it's kind of like playing the dating game, and I'm the person in the middle. It's really fun. I get to know the seeker is the person that we call that's looking for a place to live, and the provider is the older adult that has an extra room and needs a little assistance. And so I get to know each person and good match. And so we all get together, and then they get together on their own, and they decide if they want to proceed, that they have a 2-week trial, which is a great opportunity to kind of try people on for size before you kind of jump in with both feet. The seeker shows up with a couple bags, and I touch base with them a couple times throughout those 2 weeks, and then usually the seeker will go home and we'll figure out if it's going to be a long-term fit. So yeah, so I've had a couple trials that didn't work out, and that was okay, and found a solution for each of them. So one of the other things right now, I'm going through training to be an end-of-life coach, and you might think, whoa, boy, that sounds really depressing. It's actually, it's a different way of putting it as being a life coach, because really it's coming to terms with the things that need to be accomplished before your end of life and the things that you want to address, and so that's been really exciting. So I'm hoping to incorporate that into some of my programming. I teach yoga for grown-ups twice a week. I don't card. People will call me and say, well, I don't live in Chaffee County, or, you know, I'm 64. I'm like, great, show up, come. And so that's on Tuesdays at 10:30 at the Salida Community Center. They don't charge us, which is wonderful, and public health pays me to do it. It's a really rough job I have. And then up in Buena Vista, I teach at 10:15 at the community center up there on Wednesdays. So, trying to think what else. I think that's the long and short of. Oh, and health navigation, which is another really great part of what I do, helping older adults kind of navigate the really challenging pool in which we swim here when it comes to resources for everyone in particular. So right now, we're going to hopefully be working on a foot clinic. Our podiatrist no longer takes Medicaid, and so you can tell a lot about a person's health by looking at their feet. And so that'll be one of the things that I work on, as well as I'll be doing some brain health education series. I went through some training on that, so that'll be coming up too. So, yeah. Any questions?
Yeah. So you have no Alzheimer's support in BV?
No, not right now. It's one of
Can
the.
you Zoom those classes that you do here? Or?
We might be able to, but my goal in 2024 is to get one physically up in Buena Vista. And that's what I told the Alzheimer's Association. I'm meeting with the representative in November. And so that's one of the, because I work with a lot of people up there who are caregivers, taking care of someone with dementia.
And we'll get Matt up there too.
Yeah.
We'll work on that.
Yeah. And I think the library would be very open to